All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a Monday night once again with Miss G and Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Hello, 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 hello. You made it back. You made it through Saturday and Sunday. You made it through last week. That was a big accomplishment right there. So I just want to say we are so happy to have each and every one of you joining us again on today. My name is Gwen Finley. I am Miss G. And today I have a wonderful guest. I'm having malfunction right here. That's great. All right, y'all pray my strength. All right, so today I have, my family, we just love to laugh. We love, love, love to laugh. So, one of the big things for us is comedy. We love comedy, and we don't have to actually go to a comedy club to actually see comedy because half of my family are comedians just by nature. But today we have a professional comedian who is going to be joining us. And we're really basically going to chat, but I'm sure that you will enjoy every moment of me speaking with this young lady on today. So, you know how I like to get started. Let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining live, and thank you for the replay viewers. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Now, what I need you to do is share. Just share, share, share. So, we're going to start with a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all things. We thank you because you are kind, you are good, you are gracious and merciful unto us. We thank you for giving us another opportunity to just come together and just share with one another and share with our guests that are watching us on today. We thank you that we are here to bring laughter, hope, life, and joy to our listeners and a word of encouragement. And I pray for my guest on today that you would bless her abundantly and each and every person that views this stream on today. So let's just get right into it. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this young lady, and she has really wowed me over the. I think it's been just a very short time that I've come to know of her, and she has been just a wonderful, wonderful inspiration. Just watching her and listening to her stories as she has told them. She sent me a very brief bio, but she has a nice little story, and so we're going to get into that as we go into the chat. So Wendy Lee is also known as Comedian Quietstorm, and she is a Virginia native. She stumbled across her gift of comedy in 1999 and made it her business in 2006. She has traveled across the United States sharing her gift of laughter in churches, comedy clubs, and various other venues. Wendy Lee has become internationally known, performing in virtual comedy shows. Presently, Wendy Lee is an emerging comedic speaker and contributing author in a book collaboration targeted to female entrepreneurs. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. Why don't you just take a moment and help me? You can put the hands together, you can bang on the desk, you can do whatever you want to do, and just help me. Hey, girl, hey.
Well, I don't mind clapping for myself because the Bible said, no, the Bible don't say that. But it's the song that says sometimes you got to encourage yourself.
Encourage yourself. The Bible says David encouraged
Yeah.
himself in the Lord.
Oh, yeah, David did. But
Yeah,
yeah, sometimes the vino got to do it too.
I know that's right. How are you
Yeah.
today? You're looking fantabulousness.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I had to get dressed up like I came out the house. Any reason, to dress up because of the COVID. I've been in quarantine all year long.
I know,
Yes.
right?
So thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm just excited to be here. I feel like I'm kind of out the house because, I'm just here. That's why,
Right.
hey,
And you got your coat, your scarf on.
oh, yes.
Yes,
Almost everybody on earth got a scarf like this. And I think I'm trying to be a
It's all good. It's all good. So we've already got a couple of shout outs over here for you.
oh,
Um,
shout out.
My
Ooh, ooh,
yeah, that's my
ooh.
cousin right there, Cookie
Oh,
Campbell. She said when I was talking about my family being a bunch of comedians, she said yes, we are. So we come from the same bloodline, for real, and
ah,
we real cousins. So,
Yeah.
and then I have another young lady who is another cousin, Marie,
Oh,
and she says hello. And then Cookie
family.
said it is her cousin, Wendy Lee.
Yes. I'm become everybody cousin. I got to expand
Exactly.
my family. Yes,
We
indeed.
expand ours as well. We just go for it. Whoever wants to be in the family, come on, come on.
All right, all right. So I need some Thanksgiving leftovers because I ain't get to come to
Listen,
the
I
family
got
gathering.
some. They're in the freezer. I can unfreeze them, not thaw them out. Unfreeze them.
Well, all right now. All right. I have. I'm skinty. Skinty people got the biggest appetites ever.
Oh Lord, well, we can definitely fatten you up. That's another thing. We like to cook, we like to eat, and we like to laugh, and we like to sing. Those are our four
Oh,
staples.
sure. Cook,
So you
eat,
come on over,
laughing.
we'll do all four for you at the same time.
Oh, now,
Yes,
now, now that's some talent right there.
it's talent. You'll be surprised what you see.
At
So
the
I'm so
same time.
excited to have you here. You are a phenomenal young lady, and we were able to be together at Charvette's fifth
Ah,
pop
yeah,
up
yeah.
recently, and so that was a real treat for me. I don't know about for you, but I think it
Oh,
was
yeah.
'cause you,
What you talking
yeah.
about? In-person show. Hallelujah. Got to get my face painted. Got to see all these wonderful people. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
It was wonderful. Yes.
And it
Thank
was
you.
wonderful watching you and my cousin Cookie as you all graced the stage, and God blessed you and brought you into another place. We grow up and we do things and we just do them because we do them. But when God
Right.
starts moving you into a new place, it's absolutely wonderful, even to be able to watch others as they grow. So I am so excited for you guys, and I'm your number one cheerleader. So
Yay, cheerleaders. Woo-hoo.
yeah, you gotta
Thank
have
you
some.
so much. Thank you.
So I'm gonna start off with a question, just
Oh,
asking you. So why did you choose the path of laughter? I mean, or did it choose you? I mean, how did that actually come about?
I'm scared of questions. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Well, actually, comedy chose me because believe it or not, don't tell nobody else. Don't. This is a secret. This is between me and you and other folks on here. Don't tell nobody else.
Right, the whole
But I
world.
used to be, I used to be
Hmm.
really shy, and so it is an absolute miracle that I stand on stage and make folk laugh right now. I wouldn't in comedy is something I wouldn't have even chosen for myself ever. It's nothing I aspired to be as a
Hmm.
child. None of that. Actually, comedy chose me, and it was actually I was almost 30 when I actually started my comedic career, and it's just something that, as TD Jake says in one of his messages, I happed upon it, and I
Hmm.
was actually I attended a talent show just to support it. I was a part of the audience,
Wow.
and it was at this church. It was a church talent show,
Hmm.
and the pastor actually announced that they needed more participants. So he said, if anybody in the audience wants to be a part, just come on and come to the back and we'll prepare you. And so he made that announcement about 3 or 4 times. So about the third time, I said, okay, what can I do? Because the thing is, here's another secret. Don't tell anybody. At the time, I had a host of talents. So I
Okay.
was singing a little bit. Don't tell nobody. I get it from y'all side of the family. I was singing a little bit, a
Right, we
little bit.
cousins.
Yeah. And I was also part of the dance ministry at the time. And so singing had already been presented. Dance, somebody had did a praise dance already. And then I write poetry as well. Somebody had already presented poetry. So I said, I want to do something different. And it just popped in my mind to tell some jokes. I have no clue where it come from. I can say it was the Holy Spirit. And so I gathered some jokes, and I was so nervous that I read them from the paper. I just gathered, it's nothing I wrote particularly. It was just jokes I recall from memory from school that
Okay.
we used to say
Yeah.
to each other. And I actually read that from the paper. And when I
Hmm.
went to sit down, the pastor called me back up. Now, this was a church I was visiting. This was not my church. I was visiting this church. And the pastor called me back up, and he spoke words over me prophetically. And he said, God has given you an awesome gift. I see God taking you before great men. I see you traveling. And he said, I want to be the first one to sow into your ministry. And they took up an offering for me that night.
Wow.
Wow. And then he invited me back the following year to host the talent show. So what I did is I actually visited the church a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
before the talent show, and I decided to dress up like some of the church members in between the act and mimic what they do during worship service. And they
Wow.
absolutely loved it. And it was then that someone asked me for my business card. And I said, well, I'm not in business. I'm not a comedian. I'm just having fun. So they said, well, you come to my church and do what you did tonight. I said, sure. And it was a domino effect.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's why I put in my bio how I discovered the talent in 1999, but I made it a business in 2006.
Right.
So
Right.
that span of 7 years, it was a domino effect. Like I said, when I went to a church, somebody asked me for my business card, and I said, I'm not in business, I'm not a comedian,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just having fun. But so I got maybe about 2 or 3 engagements, honestly, per year during that 7-year span of time. But what
Mm.
happened was somebody sent me an email announcing a Christian comedy conference in Tennessee. And so I went to that Christian comedian conference, and I met about 20, 30 different Christian comedians who was doing it full time. And I'm like,
Wow.
wait a minute, you can earn some money from this? And I'm like, what? And it's enough to go full time? What?
Right.
And so I was elated. And then it was so refreshing to meet people who love God and acted like me, because everybody didn't welcome my sense of humor, being saved and having a sense of humor. People, it's always supposed to be all stiff and stoic and, praise the Lord and blessed and
Right.
highly
Right.
flavored
Right.
and all. Yeah, I said flavor. And yeah, and so it was just refreshing to be in a room full of saved people who love the Lord and had a sense of humor. So I came back from that conference and I was on fire. And so I created a flyer, and I sent it out to the local churches asking for opportunity to exercise my gift. And then it was a domino effect, by word of mouth. I may have put out maybe 2 advertisements since that 2006 time. But
Wow.
I mean, it has been fun. I put it this way. I say I'm enjoying the journey, and I am totally enjoying the journey.
But yet
Yeah.
God is opening the doors.
Yes.
For
Yes.
those
And
people.
like I said, little to no effort that I've been blessed to get all of these opportunities and to travel and to have, and to make all these connections. I
Right.
mean, little to no effort. And I'm like, wow, suppose I put effort into it. So that's why I joined the platform business this year. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
it's time to go next level. Yeah.
yes,
Nothing wrong
yeah,
with that. And
yes.
so you kind of hit on my second question, asking I had a question that I was going to ask about, as a comedian, do you feel people sometimes have a hard time taking you seriously? So go ahead.
Yeah, and shame on them people. Them people, they need therapy. Them people that don't take me seriously. Because here's the thing. Yeah, I'm being funny, but truthful at the same time. And see, and that's actually what I want to hit on. A lot of comedy, I have a sense of humor naturally. So I would just like to say, I'm not a comedian because I have a sense of humor. I just happen to have a sense of humor. And comedy
Right.
was the route that opened up for me. But I
Yeah.
naturally have a sense of humor. And the thing is, as far as taking me seriously, I speak a lot of truth. And the thing is, people don't recognize that. I think people are blinded by the fact that I'm a comedian sometimes. And so they naturally don't take me seriously. But I think, and in my life personally, I have maybe 2 people that I so appreciate the relationship where they understand and they can decipher the
Mhm.
whole of me. They know when I'm
Right.
serious, and they can appreciate my serious side as
Right.
well as my comedic side. And they know the
Mm.
difference. And I don't really, honestly, but this is just me analyzing myself. I don't think it's hard to decipher the 2.
Mm.
I mean, that's just me. But I
I
do
don't
hear
know.
that a lot. But it's amazing. I can meet a stranger. I
Right.
can meet a stranger and they can see and discern me. They can see Wendy Lee, because a lot of people, they just see Quietstorm.
Right. Right. Right.
And and they see, and they probably know me in a comedic capacity as well. But I just think it takes, I won't even say discernment, just pay attention. I mean, but to answer your
Yeah.
question, I would say I get that a lot, but more often than I want to. But I just learned, and it's actually helping me to grow, because it did cause me to look at myself and to see what am I presenting, number one, because I will take the responsibility, half of the responsibility. I will take half, but at the same time, comedians are true. I mean, comedians, and that's why some people love you, some people hate you. Some people love you because you tell the truth. And then some people get offended by the truth. But that's how Jesus was. People was offended by Jesus because of the truth. But the thing about comedians take truth and present it in a comedic fashion.
Right.
So to answer your question,
sometimes
yes. The short answer, yes.
Sometimes they present it in a comedic fashion, and I guess that's why I'm not a fan of comedy clubs. I love comedy, but I went to back in the day, in New York. I went to a comedy club one time, and I think I was sitting down, and the waiter was going by and spilled a drink on my back while a comedian was up there. And so when they spilled the drink, I jumped up, and oh gosh, the comedian went off on me. Because it's like you messing up their show. You know how they call it the hackers, and they get mad and they mess up my hecklers, right? What is it? Yeah, I was, and after that, I was like, I'll never go back to a comedy club again.
You know what? And I'm sorry that happened, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something I want to say. I am different. I am different, and it used to bother me that I'm different, but now I embrace the fact that I'm different. I am a comedian, yes, but I don't follow the status quo of a comedian, because I know it's a gift, and I know it's something that God gave to me to be a blessing to people. And I'm a healer. I'm a healer first. But then, and because I actually have this slogan. I don't use it as much, but I do sometimes when I introduce myself in a business crowd. I actually say, I am Wendy Lee, Comedian Quietstorm, and I provide healing in the form of laughter. And one thing I will not do, and this is just me. I mean, I know that's kind of the thing of most comics is to point people out in the audience like that. But I don't do that, because I don't know if you've seen The Nutty Professor. Yeah, that's the Eddie Murphy with the clumps. And it's a scene in there where Dave Chappelle is actually the comedian at the comedy club, and what is it? Sherman Klump is there. I think that's the one where Jada Pinkett was in, the first one. And he starts cracking on and joking on Sherman Klump's sides. And when he walks Jada Pinkett's character home, Denise, that's her name, Denise, walks her home that night. It's raining, and he's shielding both of them from the rain on the porch. Then she goes into the house, and when he, then he has a new, I think it's a newspaper he has over his head, and he's going off of the porch to his vehicle, and he stops, and it's raining. And he feels so low about himself that he removes that paper and walks in the rain. And then just his whole demeanor from somebody joking on him, at the comedy club. And it's like, I don't ever want to cause anybody to feel that way because of something I'm trying to get a cheap laugh. And I will venture to say, I have offended some people, but not, intentionally. But it's not my thing to pick out people in the crowd. And if I did, I wouldn't have joked on you. I might have brought attention, because actually it is kind of a comedian's job to bring attention to what is going on in the room. But then there is a way to do it tactfully. And I think to save people's feelings. Because if it was me, I probably would have said something. Hey, you all right out there? I would have acknowledged it. But,
sit down, stop messing up my show. I'm like, well, that's awesome, because if I looked at your tagline on your website, and can you it's not what you just said, but it's a part of what you just said, so can you repeat it?
I know what you're talking about. I know. By people we are hurt, by people we are healed. Yes.
And so, just like that, just as quickly as you can give them a moment of laughter, you can also hurt them. And so having a gift and knowing how to use it tactfully is very important. And so it's wonderful that you are cognizant of that, and making sure that you are not trying to hurt people's feelings, because a lot of times that's where a lot of people find laughter to be,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so funny. Yeah, he cracked on her, and she
Yes.
ragged him and all that kind of stuff. But that's, it wears itself thin. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Even
Yes.
in family, like I've been talking to some of my family more recently, and we've always just cracked on each other. But we're finding that sometimes that can be very, very damaging. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to know when to let it go.
Right.
You can't always do that. You can't, I mean, every once in a while, being able to laugh and say a joke, people shouldn't be so sensitive, like you say.
Right. Right.
But you have to know when to let it go. And if
That's true.
every time I see you, you crack the same joke, it starts making me think, well, is something really wrong with me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. And I know, because here's a secret. Don't tell nobody. I'm telling all my secrets tonight. Here's a secret. That's why I said I'm not the typical comedian, because I am the comedian who is very sensitive. And that's another reason why I don't do the roasting. I
Right.
don't do the picking out people of the crowd, because there are some comedians, if you sit on the front row, it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
are bait. You are you
Yeah.
are comedic bait.
Right.
Yeah, and there's some things I see. I mean, I have withheld my tongue a whole lot of times from some things that I've seen, because I don't want to offend people. And that's my strength as well as my weakness, as far as being so sensitive. Because
Right.
I mean, I do, my feelings get hurt very easily. So I know that's kind of like an oxymoron, being a comedian. But like I said, I'm a healer. I'm a healer, and I
Right.
think in being saved too, I'm actually I sense things. I sense things, and I can feel people's emotions. I mean, I really can. And so, and I think that's the part of the gift. Like I said, it's a strength as well as a weakness, because I feel everything. But I think being a sensitive person helps me to be sensitive to others and be cognizant and aware of other people's feelings. But sometimes, it can cause me to walk too much on eggshells. you know.
Yeah.
But I pride myself on that, on being aware and try to be sensitive to others' feelings. Yeah.
Sounds like oh, I'm not gonna say it because people say I wouldn't say it sounds like a prophetic comedian to me, but I'm not.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was trying not to use that word because I didn't
Yeah.
want to be too super
Okay.
spiritual. But yes, yeah,
Yeah. That's
absolutely,
MsG's letting
absolutely.
sounds. That's what we do
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, hallelujah! Oh, hallelujah! Hallelujah! Okay, well let me say it then. Prophetic comedian.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what we do over
Yeah.
here. We lift up the name of Jesus Christ in all things
Yeah.
because he is the one that, um, that empowers us and gives us
Mhm.
the strength to do the things we do. God has empowered us with gifts and talents, and however He gives us to use it,
Mhm.
that's what we are here for. And
Right.
so that's one of the things that I love about this platform because it gives me an opportunity to help others to
Mhm.
also, express and to show others what they have inside of them. And so I love this platform for that reason.
Where glory be.
So, so let's get back to. We got just a few more questions. I'm not going to keep you too long. So, what type of venues do you usually service? I know that I saw that you have been at the Funny Bone right here in
Yeah, I
Richmond.
did. Yeah, also
Mhm.
did.
Did
Yeah.
they receive you well?
Oh yes, they did.
They
Yeah,
gave
because
you
I've
an
been there
offering.
about 4 times. Yes.
They gave you your offering.
They gave me an offering. Yeah, they did. Hallelujah. They did. Glory be. Yep,
I
they
know
did. They
that's
gave me an
right.
offering.
Get that
Yes.
offering. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I put it right up here.
I
Stepped it
know
right
that's
up, and then it fell down to my socks. Because I got my A minus cup. It ain't hold too good.
not an A minus. Wow. You got to get a safety pin next time.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. Still waiting on the Lord to fill my cups. Yes.
Oh Lord Jesus. Thank God this is a women's platform. So it's okay though. So what other venues do you say church and
Yes, mainly, church is like 95% of what I do, but thanks to COVID, and I had just started doing comedy clubs actually for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Started doing comedy clubs. But thanks to COVID, I do a lot of virtual shows now, and I actually have tapped into the business arena, by doing corporate events, and I have done something for the school system a couple of months ago, and started doing a whole lot of because actually women's platform is actually my favorite. I love performing for any type of group, but I really doing women's events, women's conferences
Yeah.
is my absolute favorite, and it's probably because I'm a woman.
Right.
But
Right.
and it's just
We know
women
our
go
secret.
through, huh?
We know our own secrets.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes, yes. And so I've actually kind of warmed up the crowd for a lot of um, um, female entrepreneur groups
Okay.
over the
Mhm.
past few months, since COVID, and that's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Just come
Okay.
in for about 10, 15 minutes and just
Yeah.
'cause it's a lot going. This year has been something else. This
It
this year has been
has.
woo.
Yeah.
Woo! This
Yeah.
way to turn
It's
your this year to turn you every way but loose. But
every way
yeah,
but loose. So
yeah.
everyone is talking about COVID. So
Mhm,
aside from what you're doing to work through COVID as far
mhm.
as your business, what are your thoughts on COVID itself? You know, just
I think it's not fair that the president got this wonderful treatment after he went out there and gave himself COVID. Now, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna talk about it. You open up the can of worms. I'm talking about it. Not wearing masks and holding all these rallies. He not
every stuff.
attending to the restrictions and just going out there. Yeah, and then he contracted COVID, and then he was well within 3-4 days. I want what he got, and want that vaccine. That's what I think about COVID. That's what I think. And how come they highlighted him in the news when they took and said him and Melania had it, but they just focused on him. They ain't say nothing about Melania. Yeah, I think that's just selfish.
She
Okay.
had a long time that she had to recover, but he was
Yeah.
fine a few days later. Comedic
Okay.
appearance.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it was his moment, to try to puff it up,
Yeah. Well, but in all seriousness, that was just me and my little rant. You're being funny,
Right.
but like I said, comedy with an element of truth. But one thing I think about COVID in general, it has taught me, and I think a lot of people, to one thing, not to be relying on the government, to have a
Absolutely.
plan A,
Hmm.
B, and C. Because I think this
Hmm.
thing, came. People won't see even prophetic folks. I mean, but it's some prophetic folks. Somebody did say, I don't know. I don't know. It's easy for prophetic people to say, what they saw after it happened.
After that.
Anyway, uh, but to have a plan B, C, and probably sometimes a D and E. But and then I don't want to use the word self-reliant, but not so much reliant on the government,
Right.
and to have more than one source of income. But let me tell
Hmm.
you, I had four,
Okay.
and within 3 weeks, all four of my sources just oh, they
Gone.
vanished. They vanished. Because all of my dealings was with the public because I love people. So
Right.
all four sources of my income had to deal
Mhm.
with people. Um, yeah, and so wow.
So you
And
had to
another
learn
thing
how to be
COVID,
virtual.
did for me was to help me to see what is really important.
Mm.
And it made me sad that I didn't go out on all them dates. Them ugly people that invited me out. It's like, I was so one. I'm like, that dude with 3 stomachs, and all them missing teeth in the front. It's like I should have went out with him. But and
Should have took them for what they was, right? At least get a hot meal.
yeah, because it's like now it's like, dude,
Yeah, yeah,
just in the house. In the house.
yeah.
But at least got a free meal out the deal. And okay.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
COVID has really taught us all a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
And so you also have had the opportunity to be a co-author in a book. Tell us a little bit about that real quick. Yeah, show it to us. Poor. Okay.
Yeah,
Poor.
poor.
I'm
And I
so
had
glad
to
you
make
said
sure.
because I was gonna say the wrong name.
Yeah, I know what you was
Go
gonna say.
ahead.
That's why, props is wonderful. Props is wonderful. I read the notes and I'm like, Lord have mercy. Look at it. Never
You were
help.
supposed to correct that first before I got up here and made a mistake. But you was looking for a moment. You was looking for a moment.
Anyway, you bless me, Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all
And
good.
I had to show it because, when they say poor, because we being black, people think it's P-O-O-R. They say, you wrote a book about
Right.
being poor? No.
Right.
I wrote a book about pouring out.
So
Yeah.
tell us what that's
Yeah.
about and how you came about to do that.
Well, I was a part of this wonderful program that's headed by the wonderful Charbet Mitchell. Yes, and it's called Platform Builders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been working with Charbet. Oh, Charbet been working with me. We've been collaborating. Like this book is a collaboration. That's the back of it.
Right.
Collaboration. Yes. Yeah. And so part of that program was to become a co-op. Yeah. And a collaboration. And it's funny. I learned so much. By writing that chapter. And the whole book is it's by female entrepreneurs for female entrepreneurs. But everybody can benefit from the book. But it is speaking to the female entrepreneur. But it actually speaks. Everyone took a chapter and wrote about how their business pours into others, or how others have poured into their business. And so my chapter is entitled "Whole Vessels Hold More Water." And hey, yes, pour, yes, hallelujah. And
did you come up with your own title?
Oh yes, glory be. Yes, and it's amazing. And I came up with it after I wrote, it, and then and it was after it was edited and everything. Then I'm like, this will be a good title. Yeah, yes. And so and it speaks about how being whole and healed in your emotions and your psyche actually helps you to be a better entrepreneur. But in general, I think being whole and healed actually helps you in every arena of life. But since this book is geared toward female entrepreneurs, I wrote from a entrepreneur standpoint, and it's amazing because I didn't even realize how my needing to grow and develop in that area actually had hindered me from some opportunities in comedy, and actually hindered me from being my full self and being my authentic self. And so I was like, oh, that's amazing. Even though I think, I've been enjoying the journey, and I thank God for all the opportunities that have been brought my way. But it's like, wow. Yeah. Now being aware that I had this hindrance, and now I can, kind of learn to operate from a healed place. That it's like, wow. I think things are gonna get even gooder.
Even gooder. And then you had a beautiful photo shoot. You did a lot of stuff, girl. You just came on. I don't have a single picture of you right here, but we've got.
You got a married picture of me? You got a married picture of me? You said single. You got a married picture of me?
A solo picture of you. Yeah. But we got this beautiful picture here where you did your photo shoot, and it was just so nice. So how did that make you see in terms of as a comedian, did you ever think that you would be doing some of the things that you're doing along with that to become a real business entity with comedy?
No. I mean, I really had not, and and it's really, for me, it's been that phrase that I was saying the first time that I actually hosted that talent show the following year. But people ask me for my business card, and I say, I'm not a comedian, I'm not a business, I'm just having fun. That last line, I'm just having fun. And that's what I did, even after becoming or going into business and getting paid for comedy. Still, I'm just having fun, and I get a little piece of change, from it. That's my thought. And really, even though that was 2006 where I got my first paid engagement, it wasn't until maybe 2015 where I began to look at making it a legitimate business and going into it full time. Because what happened was I lost my job. I lost my job that I absolutely loved, and I was devastated from the job loss, because it's like I enjoyed that job, and there's very few people, I think, in America that can say that they're doing something they love and getting paid well from it. And that full-time job that I had, aside from comedy, that was me. It was something I absolutely loved doing and got paid well. And I'm going to tell the whole truth. That job let me go. And they let me go for no good reason. For no good reason. And I'm telling you, just this year, I'm going to be totally honest, even though that happened, and that's actually 2014 that I lost the job. And it was actually December 2014. Oh, we're in the year. Oh, no, it's the anniversary. Oh, trauma. No, but so that's like 6 years ago that happened. And it's actually this year that I'm letting that, and I'm gonna tell the whole truth, letting that animosity go from it, because that hurt my feelings. And I haven't been able to find a job comparable to that. Yeah, and I've been working at the Amazon plantation for a little piece. At the Amazon plantation. And so so it was then that following year, 2015, where I began to consider making comedy my full-time gig. And that was part of my motivation for doing platform builders, as well, even though it took like 3 years for it to sink in, as far as making comedy, because it was fear. Let me just tell the whole truth. I'm trying to talk around stuff because I'm saying, but the same people got issues too.
That's right.
I was scared. I was scared.
And you got to get to that place where you really, really, really know that this is what you're going to do, especially once you put out that type of investment. You got to know that it's something that you really want to do. And so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And Cookie said, one door closes, another opens. Sometimes we need to be pushed out of our comfort zone. And I get it, because I was upset about my job, letting me go. And, I still have a lot that I want to do, but even that, it pushed me into a place that I never thought I would go into, and doing things that I never thought I would do. So sometimes we just have to get to that point where we are pushed to the next level.
Right.
That's awesome. So we have gone over our time, but it was a good time. It was a good time. So
it was cooking fault. It was cooking.
What's next for Comedian Quietstorm first, and then tell us what's next for Wendy Lee. Is there a be together?
Well now, and I like that you separated the two, because they are two different people. Okay, so what Wendy Lee, let me see. Wendy Lee got several books in her. And so writing this here chapter in Poor, actually was priming the pump, so to speak. And so I'd like to actually expound upon that chapter that I wrote. And so doing that, and actually the comedic speaking part, because you read that in the bio. So I would like to do, even though I'm loving doing comedy, but I learned from writing that chapter. I've always known that there's more than comedy for me. But writing that chapter actually opened up. It actually helped me to not be ashamed of my story, number one. Because I was ashamed. I was ashamed to tell my story. I was ashamed of some of the things that happened in my life. And I didn't even highlight everything. It's impossible to tell everything, but I'm not going to tell everything. I'm not going to tell everything.
Yeah.
But I was just, but it helped me to not be so ashamed of my story. And now I want to share it. I want to share it. So I want to share it. And I think that reading that chapter, it will help a lot of people. And that taking some points from that and making it a workshop or something, or so speaking to a group of female entrepreneurs or any entrepreneur, will help them. And because like I said, it caused me to see, and I went through the thing. I didn't even know, but it caused me to look back and it's like, oh, I probably missed out on some things. So I didn't
Right.
live
Yeah.
life to the fullest. So I'm not being my authentic self, and because of these hindrances here. So the speaking is comedic speaking, doing some more, but giving some substance with an element of comedy as opposed to just being up there, doing straight up comedy. So that's for Wendy Lee. And then for Quiet Storm, she wants to host some talent, some comedy shows. She wants to produce some shows and make a stage for some other people. Yes,
Right. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I might come up and
Yeah. And then another thing, don't tell nobody. This is a secret. This is a secret right here. Don't tell. Come. I would like to actually maybe do something, producing a space for comedians to vent. Yeah, because everybody goes through things. I think about therapists. I think about pastors. People who carry folks. I mean, even emergency response people. I think about those folks often, and I think that's probably just me. Being so sensitive to folks' needs. Because I'm an undercover usher too. To attend to people's needs. Just to think about these people, and so I just wonder, who is there for them? Where do they go when they need, because they carry so much, they're looking out for other people, and then those who are responsible for, for caring for people. Then, as a comedian, we're responsible for making the world laugh, and making people happy. And sometimes that's hard, that's hard. And especially this year, it has been hard to maintain a sense of humor, being hit by stuff yourself. And it's like, wow. So I want to create a space, for comedians to come and just be real. That means be real, to talk about what they're going through. Because folks going through.
And not only that, a lot of times comedians will laugh through everything, but not really deal with issues that they are dealing with themselves because they're so busy trying to make everybody else laugh.
Yeah.
So that sounds great. That sounds great. We are just so happy that you joined us today. This was my kickoff for my holiday shows. I will be having some holiday cheer coming up next week and the following week. And so this was our holiday kickoff show because we wanted to give people a little laughter and a little joy. So I'm gonna ask you this last question, and I put up Wendy's her website.
Yeah, this is big words. I know them compound words is hard on Monday night.
The one that's right in front of my eyes. I put up her website, and she also has her Instagram, so you can follow her on either of these. I'll toggle them back and forth as she answers this last question for us. And that is, as we approach the holidays, how would you encourage many to incorporate joy and laughter despite the despair of the times that we are in? How do you feel like we can, because some people are really feeling like, I can't put up a tree, I can't get one ball, I can't do nothing, I just can't. But
first of all, because you're talking to somebody that just came out of depression, a 5-year depression, earlier this year. And as soon as I came out of it, then COVID-19 hit. Because I was isolated, I was isolated before. I was doing quarantine before COVID-19 hit because I was struggling within.
Right.
And so and so actually the advice I would give is the tips that I use to keep myself out of depression. And that's number one, it's mindset. It's mindset. And even the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so it's what you think. And then what you say. So to say, you don't want to do this, or you don't feel, or you don't have a reason to put up tree. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because one thing, we made it. And I think to look for the good, you have to look. Sometimes we have to be intentional about that. Looking for the good, even though we may not be able to get with our family physically, but to think, and here's another thing, it says in Philippians, if any what is it? I think it's 4 and 8. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, lovely, of a good report. Think on these things. So I think we have to be intentional about what's going through our mind. And a lot of things going to go through our mind, but we have a choice in what we allow to stay in our mind. And then, this big thing now is on gratitude. Yeah, I think a lot of people are taking on to this gratitude thing, but just think positive. And I think you have to be intentional, really, about what we think about, and just think, hey, the family that we stay, because I lost some people to COVID-19. So the people who are still left, thank God for people who are still left. Thank God that I'm still here. Thank God that all my needs are met. I may not have, I lost 2 sources of income, but thank God I was able to keep up with my bills. Like I said, fine. And that, even though that might not be somebody else's situation, but we can find whatever good is still going on. And even though I'm not able to see my family, thank God my family's still there. I can still talk to them. Thank God for Zoom. Like I said, look for the good. And then I'm eating. People don't notice this foods produce moods. I mean, really, we have to be careful about what we're putting in our body, because that can have an effect on our moods. So eating healthy, eating stuff from the earth, not so much refined sugars. So people probably don't want to hear that. Thanksgiving and Christmas time to pick out. And then the thing about it, hey, I understand. Those are comfort foods. The comfort food that makes us feel better is stuff that's not good for us.
For the moment, yeah,
absolutely. It's a booster. Then it just drop you. It drop you like when you dating a married man, and then they just drop you. Go back to the wife. I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm just trying to help somebody. That was somebody. That was for somebody. Right? You need to get rid of that married man. Anyway, okay. Yeah. So that's just a little. Just be intentional. I mean, and even what we listen to. Sometimes we got to cut the news off. Sometimes, for me, I just listen to the news for the weather and just see the top stories, and that's it. And so music produces moods. So listen to some uplifting music. And then be careful who you have in your ear. And sometimes we got to log off or put some people on pause on a social media, because some people what's in their timeline is like, y'all always complaining. Y'all always, you got to have positive people and positive things going in your eye gate and your ear gate. And so that's okay. I'm a Hirsch. I'm a Hirsch. But
it's wonderful. I enjoyed every moment of it. You have really blessed us on today. You have blessed us. So those who didn't go to church on yesterday, you got a word today.
Hallelujah.
Got a word today from the comedian.
And it's practical stuff, because people try to be practicality.
Right. Yeah. So we are so glad that you have stopped by and blessed us on today. And you know what? I just really hope that you spark something in my brain and my mind. So this year I usually do a women's conference, and this year I didn't do one. And so I was talking to one of my sisters in my women's ministry yesterday, and we was just saying it's time. We've got to get together. So I'm hoping that keep your ear pushed there, because I'm hoping that I can engage you in joining in with us, and coming and speaking to us as well, and doing a session to help us. Yay! That looks like you're interested. That's all I need to know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I believe Cookie said, "Look at her face." Pressing her ear to the wall. I want to hear what you say. Yes. Because I believe that God has empowered you to empower others and help others through tough times. And these are definitely tough times. But you know what I was thinking about, and I'm going to let you go, is that I think COVID has done a whole lot.
Yeah,
it really has. But the truth of the matter is, people have been suffering all along.
Well,
people have been dying before COVID. people
Mm-hmm.
have been dying through COVID that had nothing to do with COVID. And everybody's
Absolutely.
getting lost in COVID. Well,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I know there was one year when I lost 9 people close to me in that
Oh
one
my.
year, and it was only in a
Wow.
span of a few months. And I lost
Wow.
my brother, I lost my grandmother, I lost her sister, I lost my
Mm-hmm.
best friend, I lost,
Mm-hmm.
so and several cousins. And so we can always look at a time as almost like a time of pandemic in our life.
Right.
But
Right. Mm.
have being able to get through any of those times is important, not just through COVID and through the pandemic, although it's important. And so
Right.
holiday time, you still have to
Mm.
remember that God has still been good, and he has
Right.
still blessed us, and we're still here, and that means that we have an assignment on our lives. And so, I share that with my family very, very often. We have an assignment on our lives. If you're still here, God has
Mm-hmm.
something for you to do, and
Absolutely.
I have family members who have been sitting in dialysis, and I tell them, I don't care if you're sitting in the dialysis, there's somebody in that dialysis center that may need a
Mm-hmm.
word, that may need prayer while you're sitting there.
That's true.
So we have to take every moment and use them to our best advantage, however God gives us to do it.
That's
I am
true.
so glad once again that you have joined us, and I pray that God will abundantly bless you for being with us on today. And
Oh,
thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. I do believe it's
okay.
going to be
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm sorry we went over our time, but we had a good time, I think.
Oh, it's all good. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm be in the house till this thing over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Bye
All right.
bye.
Thank you.
So we're going to be doing family and friends. We're going to be doing some holiday shows. The next 2 Mondays, we have December the 14th and December the 21st. I have some great, great guests lined up. I've got just a few pictures of some of my friends that are going to come along with me, and they are going to join me on in the next coming weeks. Y'all know, cousin. She's been on here talking to us. Cousin has been here. Come on, cook, cook, cook. My cousin Cookie, she's coming back. She's gonna be joining us real soon. And we're going to be talking about some holiday fashions and things like that. And then we also have this beautiful young lady. You will get to know her. My audience that has not seen her before, this is Sandra Huff, and she is a psalmist. She's a psalmist and a musician, and she's going to join us and entertain us a little bit right here on Miss G's Ladies Lounge. Listen, you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be different, but it's going to be great, and we're going to have a great time. I also wanted to remind you that my book is available. It is available for you online. You can go on Amazon.com and look for Let the Vision Speak by Gwen Finley. It is just something that sort of like what we've been talking about on tonight. It's time for you to come out of that corner, stop hiding, stop procrastinating and holding back on the gifts that God has given you. So look for that on Amazon.com, or you can inbox me today. Or reach out to me however you can. And I have autographed copies available right here in the house. I have some. Uh, and so I am excited. Listen, I want to tell you, I'm going to give you guys who are still here, if you stayed on here or you're catching a replay, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. I've got some products coming. Yes, I'm moving into the product world. Whoop, whoop. So here is one of my first. Don't tell nobody you saw this. Like Wendy said, don't you tell nobody. All right, here you go. Here's one of my first products. Uh, yeah, girl, look at that. Look at that. All right. I got to take that out because I got to give you a sneak peek because y'all be trying to steal people's. No, I'm kidding. And then, so these are some t-shirts that I am bringing out to you guys. And I also have masks, and we're going to be getting that stuff together. It'll be very close to Christmas. If not at Christmas, it might be a little bit after, but my goal is to get it available to you before Christmas. So listen, let's get it all together. Reach out and we get those books to you. And we're going to just have some fun in the next few weeks with Miss G's Ladies Lounge Holiday Lounge. Holiday, holiday, holiday. It's holiday time, and I love holiday time. All right, love you guys. Thank you so much once again for joining us with Wendy Lee on today, Comedian Quietstorm. And she has blessed us abundantly with not just laughter, but with a word from God. So if you missed it, back up, catch it from the beginning. All right, love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Remember, God loves you, and so do I.